Hey everyone, welcome to the video. This one we're going over the 4-game NBA slate for tonight on Draftkings. Not the most exciting slate in the world. The highest over-under I think is 219 out of 2 of these games. On a usual slate, 219 is not really something I'm looking at whatsoever. So this won't be too exciting, but it's basketball nonetheless, so we're going to break it down. And before we continue, if you guys could leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. Really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPanel16. And if you're interested in any of the extra content I do every single night, like my spreadsheets with my defense versus position chart, my cheat sheets, my projections, my projected minutes, all that good stuff, and my Discord chat, links in the description below for my Patreon. And I'd update that all the way up until lock, because again, a lot of things change throughout the day when it comes to NBA. So, like yesterday, Giannis got ruled out, which made all the Bucks secondary options elite plays. Chris Middleton, Ilyasova, Bledsoe all became awesome plays. So, anyway, I say we get right into this slate. So, we're going to start off with Luka Doncic, who is $1,800 more expensive than anybody on this slate, and that's deservedly so. The guy is insane, and he's got the most upside by far on this slate, by far the best player. And he's pretty much a must-play in my opinion, because when it's such a small slate, you want to get the guy that can break the slate on your lineup. I mean, if you don't, you're pretty much dead in the water. Now, I gotta say, he's been pretty sucky the past 3 games, so I do think he's due for a bounce-back game. 37 points versus Minnesota. Only played 26 minutes versus New Orleans. Had 49 points, which honestly isn't too bad at all. Almost 2 points per minute there. If he would have had a full complement of minutes, I think it would have been just fine. But they won 130 to 84, so didn't have to play the whole game there. Then 46 versus Sacramento and a full complement of minutes was pretty disappointing. But I think he's going to be better than that on most nights here, which he has been all season. Now, Detroit's 15th versus point guards. Not that I really care about matchups when it comes to Luka. The guy's going to be fine no matter the matchup. But it's just, pointing out it's a pretty middle-of-the-road matchup, and they really don't have anyone that can slow him down. He's also averaging 1.74 points per minute this year, which is second highest out of anybody. Giannis is at 1.9, but then it's Luka. I mean, those two are just so good on a point per minute basis. And the second highest point per minute rate on the slate is Joel Embiid at 1.51, so there's a pretty big gap on this slate. He's got a 36% usage rate, which has creeped up to near 50% on some nights. He's averaging 30 points per game, 9.2 assists, and 9.8 boards. Pretty much flirting with a triple-double every single night. He's got over 7 this season. I don't know the exact number, but I know it's over 7. And you just got to love Luka here. I don't see a reason why you should want to fade him. And as long as there's enough value plays on this slate, I think we should probably try to fit in Luka. So definitely someone I am looking at. He's going to be the cover picture on my video. I'll tell you that right now. Andre Drummond, I'm going to pass. Joel Embiid, I'll probably pass as well. But Nikola Jokic at 9K, I think he's an alright play here. I don't typically like playing Jokic this year because he's been pretty disappointing, but I do like the matchup here versus Portland. They have been awful versus big men, and he actually has 3 good games in a row. 56 versus Boston, 47 versus Brooklyn, 43 versus Philly. Not too bad, not something I'm too upset about. In Portland, they're 27th versus centers, and I know he's been a little disappointing, but he's still averaging 1.3 points per minute, which isn't great, but it's not terrible either. The problem is he's not going to see huge minutes most nights. I mean, he's played 35 plus here and there, but more than likely he'll be sitting in that 30 to 32 minute range, which isn't like a great, but it's not terrible either, as long as the game's competitive. But this is a pace-up spot. Portland is 11th in pace of play, and Denver is 23rd. So I like getting guys in pace-up spots. So Jokic is definitely on my radar as of right now. Not a core play by any means, just because he's 9K, but definitely someone I would be considering. DeMar DeRozan, he's one of my favorite plays of the night. He comes in at 7,300, and I'll play pretty much just anybody that's living, breathing against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are one of the worst teams in the league, one of the worst teams defensively, and we just saw James Harden go absolutely nuclear last night. Not saying he's got any upside. Not saying he has the upside of James Harden in the slightest, but I'm just saying this is what opposing teams just happen to go nuclear pretty much every single night versus Cleveland. They are just so bad defensively. They're the 3rd worst defensive unit right now. And the only concern I would have with playing the Spurs is if they keep this game close, because Cleveland's on a back-to-back. They're traveling to San Antonio. They played pretty hard last night to keep it close with Houston. They were fighting tooth and nail until the end of that game. And the Spurs have had 5 days of rest, so they're going to be coming in pretty fresh here, and they're 11.5 point favorites. I could see the Cavs getting blown out here is my only problem, but they keep it close. DeRozan should be fine. I wouldn't surprise me if he hits about 50 points tonight. He's played big minutes the past 2 games, 41 minutes, 40 minutes. Houston game was, I believe, double overtime, so doesn't really count, but still, he's been pretty solid this year. He's averaging 1.1 points per minute, 26% usage rate. Cleveland ranks 27th versus small forwards. I think DeRozan is one of the best plays on the slate, so definitely someone I'm looking to get in my lineups, and he's at a pretty fair price as well. I also have interest in his teammate LaMarcus Aldridge. I prefer DeRozan, but Aldridge isn't bad either. The Spurs have the highest total on the slate, and I already said how bad Cleveland is defensively. They're 23rd versus centers, and Aldridge is averaging a little bit over a point per minute, and he's been pretty good recently. 40, 47, 32, 40, 40, 29, 39, 31, 54 versus Portland. So I think LaMarcus Aldridge would be another pretty solid mid-range play if you're looking to get some of these 7K guys in, or just targeting against Cleveland. Blake Griffin's at a pretty nice price, but not too interested. Kristaps Porzingis. If it sounds like I'm talking weird, my jaw is so sore. Which I haven't even really been talking this morning. I just woke up a little bit ago, so I don't understand why, but it hurts. Anyway, Kristaps Porzingis at 6,400. He's just been so bad. I like the price on him, and it's a good matchup. Detroit's actually 25th versus power forwards, but he's just been so bad. We know the guy's got upside, though. But if you look at his game log, 26, 23, 29, 26, 25, 29, that's bad. That's really, really bad. Although the prices come down, which I do like. He's got upside. He had 51 versus Houston, 36 versus Cleveland, 36 versus Golden State. If I had to guess, I think he's going to get you 30-plus points tonight. Recent form is not great, though, but we'll see. I'd like the point per dollar projection on Kristaps Porzingis tonight, so definitely someone on my radar at 6,400. But I just hate the recent form he's been in. Will Barton, he balled out the last game, but that's also because Jamal Murray left early, and he's expected to be back. But he had 40 minutes, 53 fantasy points. I don't expect that again, especially if Jamal Murray's back. So good matchup versus Portland, though. They're one of the worst defensive teams. But Kevin Love, I do like Kevin Love tonight at 6,200. I really liked him last night. I said he was way too cheap despite his poor play, and because the blowouts were hurting his minutes. But I actually had him projected for about 32 minutes last night, and that's what he got. And he had 37 fantasy points, which I believe was right around his projection. So he was a pretty good play last night, got over 6x. And again, if they keep it close versus the Spurs, 6,200 is, again, just too cheap for someone that's more than likely going to 6x. Spurs are 19th versus power forwards, and Love is averaging 1.14 points per minute. And I only have him for about 28 minutes tonight, just to be safe in case of blowout, just because of blowout concerns. But that's still about a 33-point projection, which is not bad at 6,200. So Kevin Love, definitely someone I have on my radar. He's got 40-point upside. If they keep this game close, 30-plus minutes, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he hits 40 points. So definitely got to like Kevin Love here. I think he's a pretty solid play. Tristan Thompson, secondary option to Kevin Love. Al Horford's playing against his old team in Boston, but not really too much interest there. Melo's playing against his old team, Denver, like way old team. But, Denver's just a really good defensive team. Really don't have too much interest in Carmelo. Let's see. I think Paul Millsap at 4,900 would be interesting. Now, he is questionable, so we don't actually know if he's going to end up playing or not. So if he does play, though, I think he's a pretty solid option. Portland is 24th versus power forwards, and it is a pace-up spot. We're going up against Portland. I already mentioned that. Now, the problem is he only averages 25 minutes per game. Did play 29 versus Philly, but again, Jamal Murray was out, so that just opened up some more minutes. But he's also a point-per-minute guy, so say he gets 25 minutes tonight, I think a 25 to 27-point projection isn't too far out of the realm of possibilities, considering this is a really good matchup and it's a pace-up spot. So I think Paul Millsap's a pretty good point per dollar option. Now, if he happens to be out, you could go to Jeremy Grant, who I don't remember his price. He's 3,900, and he's actually been averaging 0.8 points per minute with Paul Millsap off the court, and he would see about 25 plus minutes. So Jeremy Grant, definitely someone I would have interest in. The last time he had big minutes, 32 versus Sacramento, only had 19 points. But versus Washington, 28 minutes, 31 points. So I think he'd be actually a pretty solid play if Paul Millsap happened to be out. And I like the matchup versus Portland and the late night hammer. So Jeremy Grant definitely would be on my radar. You could also look at a couple of the other options for Denver coming off the bench. And then one guy who had a really good game last night, because there's really not a lot of value options as of right now, so I'm just hoping some more things open up. But Kevin Porter Jr., I think he's 3,900. No, he's 3,600. So he actually ruined my Cedi Osman play, because Osman was doing really good, but then Kevin Porter, he was having an even better game, so kind of took Osman off the court. Osman still 16 points at 3,300, but Kevin Porter, I mean, he had 29 minutes versus Houston, 39 fantasy points, 24 real-life points. He had a good game, 6 for 9 from deep, This is more of a ceiling game from Kevin Porter, but the game last night might have earned him some more minutes tonight, so definitely someone that's on my radar as of right now. Might be a pretty good point per dollar option. Might be able to hit 20 fantasy points if he's going to get close to 30 minutes again. Not sure if that's a good probability, but it's definitely a possibility. So Kevin Porter Jr. is someone on my radar as of right now. I think that's going to pretty much do it. I hope some more value opens up because I'm not seeing a lot of good options down here. Looking like a more of a mid-range day with more than likely trying to fit Luka in. So probably right now looking to start my lineups with Luka and DeRozan, and then we'll go from there. Anyway, guys, hope this video was helpful. If it was, remember to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Really helps me out. Really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16, and I'll see you guys in the next video.